Do you know?
6:40.
But that point of view
Hello and welcome. Hello and welcome to Career Dynamics, and I am Souvik Roy. Career Dynamics is a platform where we believe every career has a compelling story. Here you will receive the guidance from the best of the best. We will be tracing the threads of their path and how you can apply those lessons in your career. We are fortunate to give you an insightful overview about the various career paths. Today, we are delighted to have the Dean of the School of Law and Justice, Adamas University, Professor Dr. Souvik Roy, with us, who possesses an industry experience in the corporate and litigation sector as a lawyer in various states. He is a versatile speaker and exceptionally skilled professional. Dr. Roy also has a track record of successfully helping students to achieve their greater heights for more than a decade. Hello and welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. And how about you?
I'm doing well, sir. Thank you so much for joining us today, and it's an absolute honor to have you here.
It's an absolute pleasure for me to join all of you all.
Thank you, sir. So, before starting today's discussion, I would like to know something about your journey. Like, what inspired you in pursuing a career in law sector?
To begin with, honestly, nothing per se inspired me, to be honest, because I always wanted to pursue English honors. I was into a lot of watching movies and all of this. So I wanted to be a film director at some point of time, and I did my courses and all of that as well. And then subsequent to that, what happened was I had this chance opportunity to meet late Professor Dr. N.R. Madhava Menon. So he's a pioneer of law and law schools for that matter when it comes to national law universities. So that chance meeting happened with my father. And as a result of which he said that, probably taking up law is a better career option for you, considering the fact that, since you're kind of proficient with English and decent at it, and it's a professional degree. So that kind of took me to the legal field, to be very honest with you.
Right. All right. So, as we know that you have been associated with corporate and litigation sector, and from there to academia. Like, do you want to share the experience how that took place?
So what happens is, when you're young, not that I'm very old now, but just taking the liberty that when I was young. So what happens is you're clouded with too many thoughts at that given point of time. And so I initially thought of becoming a corporate lawyer. And that's why after pursuing my bachelor's, that 5 years law from University of Calcutta, I went to London University for my master's. And that was in commercial and corporate laws, which many people are not kind of aware of, because my domain, my expertise area, you can say, is in substantive criminal law. So then what happened is once I came back to India, so my germ for movies and filmmaking was always there. And at that given point of time, just coming back, your parents have the expectations that, probably you will be doing something in the field that, you've chosen to study and done your higher education in as well. So by that time, what happened is I thought of becoming an assistant director to a director. And in the process, what I got is I ended up getting opportunities in media and things like modeling and acting and all of this. But I decided not to, because there was a huge opening for me in the corporate sector. I was getting calls from Hyderabad, I was getting calls from Mumbai, and I chose to take up a Mumbai PDS and Associates, which was a firm under EY. And as a result of which I went into corporate. And before that, for a brief stint, I was into litigation in the Honorable High Court at Calcutta with Advocate Shraddhanandu Ganguly and Advocate Shakoshe. But then after a point when I realized that, corporate is not my calling, and I always had this inkling and fascination for something which is a little bit more abstract in life, and I decided to move to academia. And then I left a very good package-wise corporate job in terms of emoluments, and decided to come back to academia. And then I started off with National Law University, Orissa, then KIIT, and then it went on and on. And then I was the founding dean of Dayanand Sagar Law School in Bangalore. And then I'm back to Adamas University, where I'm currently heading or spearheading the law school right now. So this has been in a nutshell my journey.
That's an amazing journey, sir. So, having worked in various states, how has your experience shaped your perspective on the diverse legal landscape in India?
See, first and foremost, what from a very layman's point of view, we're not going too legal. The In law there are two things. One is the general law, another is the special law. So all the laws that we enjoy in our country, the rights that we enjoy in our country, and of course it's imposed with corresponding duties as well, it stems from the Indian Constitution. So Indian Constitution is the same everywhere because it's the Union of India and the Constitution. And from there, the various laws comes into the picture. So Mumbai was a very professional ambience or an environment. Calcutta is home to me. I'm born and brought up here. So automatically, there's a lot of good work happening in Calcutta at that given point of time. But of course, there is this comfort of knowing people around, thanks to your parents, thanks to your own synergy with people whom you're already aware of. But if you really look into it, if you're talking about litigation, so I had worked in litigation in Calcutta and then moved to Mumbai. So that was that phase where I realized that Mumbai is extremely professional, and I had a great time working there. And when it comes to university or teaching and academia, so to speak, I've worked in Odisha, I've worked in Bangalore, I've worked in Calcutta, and of course currently I'm working in Calcutta as well, and of course traveled all across. So, but more or less, things are same. More or less, things are same. But institution-wise and person-wise, things might differ. So, the diaspora of people in India, we call it, sovereign socialist secular democratic republic, which is also to say that it's not a homogeneous group you're addressing. You're addressing a very heterogeneous group of people. So, be it in Bengal, Bihar, Odisha, or in Jharkhand, or in Delhi, NCR, or Karnataka, wherever you go. So yeah, that's the way it is most places. But the laws that you're dealing with, the problems you're dealing with, more or less the same. Maybe in Calcutta, a number of cases on Companies Act, and it's lesser. It's very high in Delhi or Mumbai, and so that's more or less evens it out. Yeah.
Oh, that's a great insight. So how has the law education have evolved over the years?
Okay, so what happens is law education evolving over the years. It's in phases basically. So when I was young, I was in school. I remember that one favorite moment from my school life was India playing the finals of the World Cup under the captaincy of Saurav Ganguly, and that kind of aligns to my, because it was in 2000, I think around 3 4 around, and I was in school. So one thing I realized at that given point of time is that I'm deciding on my career, like what to do after my schooling from Don Bosco, that what to do next. So at that given point of time, there was always this thing that there was 3 years LLB, and master's program was 2 years. And then suddenly this NLU, National Law University upsurge happened in legal academia, and it just took over after a point. And then came the 5 years program, which is called the dual degree integrated program. So that offers you BA LLB honors, BBA LLB honors. It can be a pass as well. So in Adamas University, we offer BA LLB honors and BBA LLB honors. And along with that, of course, masters, LLM, and PhD. So for LLB, 3 years, one has to already pursue the graduation degree. And post the graduation degree, you have to pursue 3 years LLB. But for BLLB, the integrated dual degree program that we are talking about, as per Bar Council of India regulations, you can pursue it immediately after school. So that's what I opted for. So as a result of which, you get two kinds of degrees, like amalgamated into one singular degree. So yes, it has changed a lot over a period of time, because one change is over a period of time in terms of the duration of the degree. Another is the syllabus, the courses, the curriculum that used to get offered then. And now with universities like us in a modern day school setup, like, the kind of things that we are doing, talking about AI, talking about experiential learning, which is not so much during that point of time. And over a period of time, it will only evolve, and hopefully for the better. But having said that, something very fundamental is, no matter what, the basic laws will remain the same always. And constitution will not change. Your criminal law of the country, civil laws of the country, there can be amendments to it, but those things are the fundamental. So that will remain to be there. Along with that, there are add-ons like intellectual property law and all of this. So those things are definitely important, and students uh, in today's time and age, and teachers as well, have to be abreast with this as much as possible. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, as you mentioned about the courses, what are the skills that the aspiring law students must develop to succeed in today's competitive legal practice?
One is the habit of reading. So in law, without a habit of reading, mm, it's difficult to sustain in the long run. I say qualitatively. So that's is fundamental. If somebody aspires to move to the High Court, Supreme Court, or corporates, be it in India or be it abroad, elsewhere. So what is very important is that spoken English, written English is up to the mark. And something which can never go out of fashion and something which is extremely fundamental is content. So domain knowledge is at the core of everything. No matter how good a suit you wear, no matter how great a haircut you do, and no matter how well the necktie is placed, at the end of the day, substance over style is what everybody is looking for. So it's not about how good looking XYZ is, how smartly dressed. It's important, but it's an add on. What is important is the area in which you have decided to pursue your future in. You should be able to have a grasp of that area, and you learn over a period of time, because law is vast. Nobody knows the law in entirety, even I don't. So my supervisor, who is currently the vice chancellor of NUJS, National University of Juridical Sciences, Kolkata, even at his age, he's saying that I don't know the law, but I'm still learning. So who are we? Who am I? So humility is very important, and you have to just read, be abreast with the current affairs, and most importantly, uh, when it comes to work, I mean, there cannot be a segregation that this is good work or bad work, because everything is an experience, everything is a learning, and that is very fundamental. Domain knowledge at the core of everything.
Absolutely, I agree on that point, which leads to the next question. What role do the moot court plays in enhancing the student's experience?
So most of you are aware of the fact that there is something called the new education policy that has come into the picture in India. Law per se do not come under the new education policy, but the ethos and the value system has to be incorporated, and that's a BCI guideline as well. BCI, as in Bar Council of India, but we don't come under exactly the NEP. Some professional degrees and courses like us. So what happens is experiential learning is the key. So say for instance, there was a time when law would just be read from the texts, and when they go to the industry, they would probably not be able to handle the industry that well. But what is extremely important is a moot court is a form of experiential learning, when you experience what you are learning in the 5 years of a law school. So as a result of which, moot court is very fundamental. And not only moot court, I'll add on a few things which we are doing at Adamas School of Law and Justice. One is trial advocacy competition, mediation competition, moot court at two levels: intra moot court and national moot court competition, where teams participated from all across India. And along with that, debating, very fundamental in law. And along with that, like flip classroom, so, and which is a mode of assessment as well. So all these things taking place together actually helps a student experience and become a better at honing the skill set, which are the deliverables which they would require after they graduate out of a law school. So moot court is extremely important and fundamental, and we are extremely lucky to have top tier A1 law firms of the country supporting us in the moot court competition, and honorable judges from the High Court, and partners of top tier firms and district judges, everyone coming together and helping us out. And that is very fundamental, and it's an experience which is extremely fascinating for the students, and it's a learning as well.
Right. So, as you mentioned, that from the industry, if anyone desire to like for entrepreneurship, do you believe that have a place in this profession?
Of course, it does. So what happens is, you'll see that when it comes to lawyers, many people are doing their own startups. Startups as to what? One thing about a law degree is, after you graduate out of law, and subsequent to that you give the AIB exam, All India Bar Examination. You are independent on your own to earn money and appear. So that in itself, the law profession is a kind of a gateway to your own startup by default. Over and above that, even people who decide that I'll be working in a firm for a particular duration of time, and after that probably I'll have the client base and then I'll move out and create my own law firm. That is an excellent way for a legal startup as well. Along with that, not necessarily always law is all about creating a law firm. It's also about policy making. So, there are quite a few think tanks and policy makers who have their own think tanks as well. And they work in tandem with the government and other ways. So there is this scope which is definitely there in the form of startups when it comes to law. And not only that, I mean, in law, if you look into the larger picture, like right from HR recruitment to other things as well, there are people who have actually moved out, branched out of law with a BBA LLB honors degree, and they have the BBA background, and probably they have ended up doing an MBA later instead of an LLM, which is the master's program, and they have their own startups as well, curating to various kind of sectors. Yeah. LPOs is again another example of that. Like, you do work for foreign countries, sitting in India, you have your own setup, you have your tie up with them, and then you can do that as well.
That's a very interesting perspective. So as you mentioned earlier about how do you see artificial intelligence transforming the way lawyers conduct their research or the case management these days?
Look, I mean, there's a lot of things spoken and talked about and written about AI and artificial intelligence. Um, I'm not understating the importance of the same, but having said that, uh, there is a need to really calm down as well. So AI is important, but AI acts as an enabler. AI is not going to supplement a lawyer's skills. I mean, when someone like as learned as say Soli Sarabji or a Falin Adaman or a respected Haris Salve or people of those stature, they come in front of the court and appear, and they put their judgments or their arguments before the honorable court justice. So that's not what AI does. That's a human brain which does it. AI is important because it's a huge topic. So probably it will take me an hour or a two to discuss this. But if you look into the law students, what is AI? AI is a mode of helping things come into a process with the help of an artificial mechanism, which can be in the form of a software and a hardware, whatever it is. So if you have things like Manupatra or a SCC online in law, people will understand the database is there. So even if you go to Google, you just type that Joseph Shine versus Union of India. Google will provide you that. But AI is definitely helping. So the good part of AI, let me talk about it. So if you look into the Faster app by the Supreme Court regarding with respect to bails, how it moves on. When it comes to access to justice, we get fascinated with this old Victorian buildings of the courts. But the point is, if you look into India as a demography, it reaches far and wide. So how will everyone reach out? And reaching out to those beautiful court buildings itself is a pain of sorts. Now, the other side of the story is how many in rural Bengal or rural India per se, at a larger picture, pan India, have actually the ability to access internet connection, or they know how to read in English and this thing. But in today's day and time, if you look into YouTube, if you look into, in fact, state of Orissa has already implemented it across district courts as well. And recently, in the in the third phase of the plan of Government of India, they've invested 7 crores, more than 7 crores, in order to ensure that facilitation is being done for video conferencing and the all of that. So that kind of helps the entire process. One is democratization of technology. Another is democratization of technology in access to justice. These are two different things. Let's not mingle the two together. One is I'm talking about the autonomy of an individual to actually catch hold of technology, and by that I mean the means to catch hold of the technology, having that phone. And another is using that phone in order to ensure that I get access to justice. And these are two different things altogether. We are on the path, and which have facilitated a lot. Even our law students in Adamas School of Law and Justice, we often tell our faculties that and tell them also that you listen to the court hearings and what is going on live in the court on YouTube, because they're all available. So therefore, yes, AI is an enabler. It's very important, provided it's used in the right way. It will help. But having said that, using a chat GPT here and there in order to ensure that we write things properly, yes, it can come through in a particular way. But there are so many nitty gritties in law. No, even a comma in a bare act in a particular statute book in that provision has its own interpretation. There are judgments on comma. There is a judgment on or. So if comma and or is so important, so you can understand that artificial intelligence is great, but human mind to interpret that and kind of amalgamate the two, then it can be a very potent way to actually address the legal delivery mechanism.
Absolutely, that's a very interesting perspective, sir. Which leads on to the next question, that with the technology have risen so much these days, like how do the faculties and the students in your university cope up with that thing?
That's the need of the hour. I mean, you perform or you perish. So everybody will have to. And thankfully, with our university, at our law school, we have faculties from top tier national law schools, government law schools, colleges as well, and of course QS ranked institutions from abroad, and the top tier ones I'm talking about. So as a result of which, most of them are abreast with the fact that how to use the online mechanism. Well, you see there's so many events happening in our law school, right from moot court competitions to trial advocacy, mediation competition, national conference, and all of this across the year, crime scene investigation. So those things are not possible unless you are able to access the technology in the right way. Of course, hard copy and everything is those are also there. The AIR, the All India Reporter that we're talking about, and everything. All England Reporter is also available in our library. But having said that, uh, you have to address students in a with a smart board, and you have to address students with a live case law or a live analysis of something. So these are things that students and teachers, they are coping up with it. They are getting better at it, and in the due course of time, they'll even get better at things. So that's not exactly a challenge, provided you have the willingness to learn. One is if you have the mental blockage that I don't want to learn, and another is if you have the willingness, and most of them are pretty young and they're pretty okay with the fact of using technology when it comes to getting those judgments, etc., and curating it. So it's not much of a challenge, really.
Right, from the learning process, coming to the challenges, what are the challenges that most of the young lawyers or maybe the professional lawyers face these days?
See, challenges that the young lawyers, since you mentioned the word exactly lawyers, so I'm talking about the people who are enrolled in the bar and the Advocates Act, this thing. So therefore, see, those challenges have been there since time immemorial. So those are perennial challenges, how to get through. So the initial bit can be a little bit frustrating, but the one good part about it is if you can really do your initial bit correctly and meticulously, then the whole world opens up for you. These days, it's not only court settlement, but out of court settlement as well. Arbitration, mediation is at the thick of things, at the very forefront. And there is a lot of scope, because one thing that is definitely is going to be there even in our family. If we look into, in family also we have disputes, and we are living in a society, so it will invariably have disputes. If we can have blood disputes, or sorry, if we can have disputes, pardon me, with your own relationships tied by blood or kinship, then automatically disputes will always be on the rise. And India is a growing economy, so always there will be a lot of growth, infrastructural development, and in all this, one thing that is bound to happen is dispute. And when disputes happen, yes, sir, we are there, the lawyers. But coming to the challenges, initial part is never easy. You have to do all kinds of things. You have to go. You have to learn it the hard way. Even the corporates might not be that okay, and the payment might not be great. But you see the hike in the payment, and you see the hike in the monetary, the emoluments that you're talking about after a point, unless of course you crack a tier 1 law firm or a tier 1 corporate. That's different. And you have to do the hard work, you have to toil it out, you have to go to the court regularly with your senior, you have to go to the chamber, you have to work on Fridays, Saturday nights when all of your other friends are partying or having a gala time watching an IPL match or a UCL, a Champions League football match, or maybe we're seeing Inter Miami play with Messi scoring goals or Ronaldo scoring for Al Nassr. But at that point of time, you're working, you're reading, because next day your client will be there. There is no Saturday, Sunday. I mean, at times you will, at times you will not. So those are some challenges, but you have to embrace it. And there's so many who are doing it. And once you do it, after a point of time, life becomes really good, and there's this whole array of opportunities comes your way. But you have to go through the grind. It's as simple as that.
Absolutely, sir. I agree with your point. But let's turn the pace of discussion into not so controversial question, but still with justice being a pressing concern in today's society. So, what are your thoughts on its increasing demand, and how there is a follow up question to that? There is a notation as justice delayed is justice denied. So, what are your thoughts on that particular notation, sir?
See, I mean, frankly speaking, we demand justice when we are born out of our mother's womb. So when we are crying, so basically, and we don't even remember those days when we cry because we grow up, right? And you get to hear stories from your parents or uncle, aunties, and grandfather, grandmom saying that whenever you used to be hungry, you'd just cry like insane. So that time, what essentially that little child who was just a newborn was seeking for was justice. I'm hungry, give me food. And if it's late, then you're crying at the top of your voice, right? So justice begins from there. I mean, for me. And yes, it's a fact of the matter is at times you get justice, at times you probably do not get justice. There can be some decisions which are controversial. There can be decisions which you may align to, you may not align. And that's a part and parcel of life in general. It's not only about judiciary, because at the end of the day, the people who are in the judiciary, I'm calling them people because they're humans. So humanness, bias, emotions are a part of our life. And that is where, when it comes to justice, yes, through the justice delivery mechanism, there are people who take up the law in their own hands. To them, that is justice. One nation's hero is another nation's terrorist. So that same person who's been prosecuted is an upholder of justice in some other nation. If you look into our freedom fighters, if you talk about Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose and all others for that matter, it's 2025, Siadas, 1925, yeah, it's 100 years. So, prosecuted by the Britishers. So, they were fighting for justice, right? At the same time, the British government found out that, probably no, this is not justice. This is an act of concern against the state. So, yes, you cannot have a foolproof mechanism. We are not staying in an egalitarian world or a utopian society that everything is pitch perfect. We can have problems at home, and the same problem, similar problems. It's a kind of a social contract. The fact that if you want to get up from here and pass through this, I will move. But if I don't move, there is dispute, and then you're seeking justice. It's as simple as that. And justice delayed is justice denied. Yes, it's an age-old facet that the judiciary is working at it. There's a lot of fast-track courts which has come into existence in civil matters and matrimonial disputes and otherwise, and family courts as well. So, since we are a vast democracy, right, and it's never easy. So it's always easy to point the fingers at the judiciary, but what is it that we are doing to ensure that things get better as well? So it's a combination of the two. But yeah, justice delayed is justice denied, because if you procure justice after 25 years, probably by then you're living or you're not living, or by that time the satiation or the hunger, or the thirst to actually get justice is no longer is diluted, or that's not what it is. We have had some brutal cases, the Nirbhaya being one of them, and so many others. Like I can go on and on and on. So, yeah, I mean, if you look into 497 of the old Indian Penal Code, which is Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita right now. So, Justice Chandrachud, his son, Junior Chandrachud, sir, learned, he overturned the decision of his father after so many years, like since ages. It remained to be as it is, and then 497 got struck off. So, it takes time, and that's the process, but we can always work towards it, make petitions, write, submit to the government for their hearing and all of that. But that is a process. But yes, I mean, the judiciary, see, the law and the flaw comes together. So we are trying, and that's the way it should be. And hopefully, a time will come when the speedy justice will be even more available than what it is currently prevalent right now in the country.
Absolutely, sir. So I would like to highlight some of the words that you said. One is problem, and another one is dispute. How important it is today to speak up against those problems or disputes or offense or violations which we encounter in our everyday lives.
See, when you talk about speaking up, I don't know in which context you're talking about speaking up. So, one is speaking up in a public platform, one is speaking up with your close family and friends, one is speaking up uh, in front of the judiciary, one is speaking up. Like when you say speaking, you can also mention that, that can be writing also through demonstrations, etc. So, look, I mean, problems were there before, problems are there now, and it will remain to be there. And that's why there is a law. So, no, it's not a problem per se. I mean, if there is something wrong, it is important to voice your opinion on the same. At times it gets difficult. It can be a problem at a workspace. It can be problem with your friend. It can be problem maybe on the road while you're coming to the university, and there is some issue. So because see, the whole point is that in the morning when we get up from the bed, what is the first thing that we do? We go to the probably the washroom, and then probably like brush, we switch on the lights and all of that, then wear our dresses, go take the cab, vehicle, whatever it is, and then come to the university through the road. If you look at all these things that you're doing, you are constantly in touch with law in every facet. You talk about the road, there is Motor Vehicles Act, there is land and laws and all of that. When you come to your university, in your own house, you switch on the light, the fan, the AC, there is Electricity Act. Whatever you're wearing or brushing that you're doing, everywhere there is this component, right? So as a result of which, and there can be problems anywhere. Consumer, we are essentially consumers. There is a Consumer Protection Act as well. So from that standpoint, let's face it that if there is a problem, it's important to voice your opinion. If you feel that you have to take the course of the law, you do it, and that's the way it should be, and that's the way it is.
Absolutely, sir. So before concluding this discussion today, I would like to request you if you want to share any experience with the aspired law students who are aspiring to be in the law firms. So
Who are aspiring to be in the law firms? I don't think I'm the very right person, or maybe I'm the right person, so I'm confused right now. But having said that, see, I've worked in a law firm myself. There are two kinds of things that can happen over a period of 5 years. So once Krishan Mahajan sir had mentioned, he was amicus curiae, the friend of the court in the Ganga River pollution case. He had mentioned that 5 years in a law school is also all about self-discovery. I wish I got to hear that much before when I was a student. So what happens is, when it comes to this entire gamut of law and everything, the sooner we realize what's our calling and what we want to do, the better it is. And if you want to be in a law firm structure, quote unquote, it's very fundamental that, and irrespective, because you're dealing with law. And people have their understanding law firm means going and sitting in the AC room and all of that. Yes, that is a part of a law firm. That is not the be all and end all of a law firm. Even you can go to as a counsel and represent your client at the court. You have to go for client visit. You have to go for due diligence, check up to factories and all of that. It's not only about drafting a share purchase agreement, the arbitration clause, the environmental laws and all of that. No, it's not about that. It is about that, but there's more to it just beyond. So as a result of which, you have to get your basics correct. You have to you have to do some really serious internships during your 5 years of your law program, so that you're abreast of the fact that what are the requirements of a law firm and how to, because today we are looking at people or skilled lawyers ready made to the market, who are good at it, and it's not easy. It's a combination of university, faculty, and students alike. Because in a professional domain, no, we just cannot say that I'll go to the university and I'm ready. No, you have to understand it's a symbiosis between the two. So students will have to do their part, and the university will have to do their bit. And if both of them comes together in the best way possible, the results will definitely come, and the law firm results will also come. But coming with an expectation that I'm coming to a university, I'm paying, and therefore I'll be at a law firm, that's a wrong notion that most people have. It doesn't happen like that. You have to hone your knowledge, you have to hone your skills and domain knowledge fundamentally. And you do your bit, the teachers does their bit, and then your skills are ready, and then the law firm will come to the picture, and of course you can excel in that. Why not?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, sir. I hope your insights and expertise have definitely showed a path to the all the desired laws aspirants out there. Thank you so much for joining us today,
Thank you
sir.
for having me here. It's an absolute pleasure, and thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Hello everyone, this is Souvik Roy, the Dean of School of Law and Justice, Adamas University, and I'm delighted to be a part of the Adamas Now channel, and I'm here currently. And this is an initiative by the School of Media and Communication of Adamas University, an excellent initiative. So be a part of Adamas Now and like, share, subscribe and watch it, and see you there.